All right, settle in, grab your drink, because tonight we're talking about something super uncomfortable for most people, but absolutely crucial for anyone who wants to actually make it. Not just make rent. Look, people constantly hit me up asking, Mark, what is your secret? How'd you get so rich so fast? And honestly, when I tell them the truth, they just stare at me, like I'm speaking Elvish. They don't believe it because the truth, my friends, is usually boring. It is consistent, and it's often counter. Intuitive, my mentor, a total legend, told me this back when I was a wide-eyed 20-year-old. If you do not want to be like everyone else, then you have to make the sacrifices others are not willing to make. That hit me like a cold shower on a Monday morning, and it's been tattooed on my brain ever since. I started with zero. I mean, absolutely zilch. No fancy degrees, no trust fund, just a burning desire not to be stuck in the rat race. And guess what? I somehow, by some miracle, became a multimillionaire. A massive part of that journey, and I mean massive, was steering clear of 7 specific landmines. 7 things I am about to drop on you right now. So, listen up, because this could literally change your whole game. The first thing you absolutely have to avoid, like that weird smell in your fridge, is working for only money. Now, picture this. You snag a job. It is boring, soul-crushing even. But hey, the pay is good, right? You start seeing those fat paychecks. Your bank account looks kind of plump. Your buddies are all, dude, you are killing it. Your parents are beaming with pride, probably telling all their friends how successful their kid is. Sounds great, almost too great. But here is the kicker. Over time, your earning potential, it just flatlines. It hits a ceiling, a very unsexy, very uninspiring ceiling. This, my friends, is what I call Path A. It is the path of immediate gratification, the golden handcuffs, the path to a very comfortable, very predictable, and ultimately, very mediocre existence. Now, let's flip the script. Imagine you take a different gig. It is super challenging. It makes your brain hurt sometimes. And guess what? The pay is kinda low. You might be pinching pennies for a couple of years, struggling to pay bills, living on ramen and sheer willpower. Your friends are probably giving you the side eye, wondering if you have lost your mind, and your parents, oh boy, they might be subtly suggesting you consider your choices. Sound familiar? Good. This is Path B. But here's the magic. Over time, as you hustle, as you learn, as you adapt, your earning potential, it does not just grow, it explodes. It goes through the roof, it breaks the sound barrier, it becomes almost limitless. So, what is the secret sauce between Path A and Path B? Path A is all about chasing the quick buck, the immediate monetary reward. But Path B, that is where the real gold is. Path B prioritizes 2 absolutely non-negotiable things: skills and equity. Every single self-made millionaire I have ever met, talked to, or studied, every single one of them, took Path B, because honestly, it is the only way to build that kind of mind-blowing generational wealth. I told you, I dropped out of school at 16-0 qualifications. Nothing. My parents were probably having heart palpitations, but I was not about to just sit around. I went out, pounded the pavement, and believe it or not, I actually got offered like 5 different jobs. 5. Can you imagine the pressure I had to make a big boy decision? Which path would I choose? I picked an apprenticeship, a carpenter's apprentice. The pay was not exactly rolling in like a tide of cash. I was basically making enough to buy cheap instant noodles and occasionally a packet of biscuits. But I knew, deep down in my gut, that the skills I would learn, they would be priceless. They would be like superpowers for my future self. So, I prioritized those skills, big time. And equity. Well, there was no way I was getting a piece of the carpentry business as an apprentice. Let us be real, but at least I was working for more than just the measly paycheck. I was investing in myself, in my future. That job, man. It taught me so much, even though I was forced to quit because my manager was a complete tyrant, a bully straight out of a Dickens novel. I still use so many of those skills today when I am designing my best-selling brand of radio-controlled planes, which, by the way, I sell all over the flipping world. Learning a wide range of high-income skills. It is like giving yourself a superpower against being broke. You become your greatest asset, your personal wealth machine. I like to think of every job I had when I was a young buck as adding a new tool to my Swiss Army knife skill set. Each one made me more versatile, more valuable, more unbreakable. Now, in today's wild, wild west of the internet, I would totally recommend focusing on online-based high-income skills. We are talking copywriting, video editing, coding, the stuff that literally runs the digital world. The demand for these skills is not just growing, it is exploding. And let me tell you from personal experience, there is a massive gaping skill shortage. Right now, seriously, sure, there are tons of people doing these things, but 99% of them, they are just not up to par. Honestly, your competition, it is probably not as tough as you think. You can totally crush it if you put in the work. Alright, moving on to the second biggie. Equity. What is equity? In simple terms, It means owning a piece of the pie, a percentage of a business so you get to benefit from the profits. My radio-controlled model brand. That is a perfect example of equity in action. You can snag equity in a few different ways. The most obvious, and the way I did it, was to just start my own darn business, build it from the ground up, sweat, tears, and a whole lot of ramen. But you can also earn it what we call sweat equity if you are an absolute rock star in certain areas. If you are so skilled, so indispensable, that a business simply cannot function without you, then you can negotiate for a piece of the action. Lastly, you can buy equity in established businesses. But honestly, I would not jump into that unless you have some serious skills that can actually propel that business forward. You need to be an asset. Not just a passenger. My buddy, Simon Squibb, he is always out there on the streets, literally telling people to either start their own businesses or go ask their boss for equity. And look, I am 100% on board with the sentiment, but you gotta have some self-awareness. People. First off, it is super smart to work for someone else for a bit. Soak up all those skills, learn the ropes, before you go launching your own empire. Secondly, be realistic. When I was a carpenter's apprentice, I did not for a second think I was going to get equity in that business. I was a newbie, a rookie. So, when you do ask for equity, make sure you have a killer case for why you deserve it. And more importantly, how you are going to add massive value to the business. Not just take from it, you need to become someone worthy of equity first. Period. The main takeaway here, and please engrave this in your brain, is that way too many people get totally blinded by the glitz of money, and they completely forget the monumental importance of skills and equity. This, my friends, is the biggest trap out there. The more you obsess over just earning a quick buck, the less, I promise you, you will likely make in the long run. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Remember that now. For the second thing to avoid, and this one is a real wealth killer, buying a luxury lifestyle. Oh, the allure of the shiny things. Picture this. You are cruising through the sun-drenched streets of Dubai, windows down, in a bright yellow Lamborghini, because why not? You pull up to some ridiculously swanky restaurant, order a $500 fillet steak. Without even blinking, how does imagining that feel? Pretty successful, right? Like you have totally made it. Well, let me drop a truth bomb on you. Most of the people you see living that way, they are so far from successful it is not even funny. The majority are driving cars they absolutely cannot afford, taking those dream trips to Dubai on credit cards they will spend 5 months trying to pay off, and ordering those ridiculous steaks at Salt Bay's restaurant that leave them with a bill they cannot even begin to handle. These people, they are living a lie, a carefully constructed illusion, pretending to be rich while drowning in a sea of debt. It is all smoke and mirrors, people, because it is way easier to impress strangers on social media than it is to build real, lasting wealth. Seeing all those influencers flashing their luxury lifestyles, it is tempting, I get it. You start thinking, man, everyone else is living this amazing life, why not me? But that is so far from the truth, it is actually depressing. Here are some cold, hard facts for you. 37% of Americans cannot even afford an unexpected $400 expense. 39% worry they cannot pay their bills, and 60% of American households cannot afford to buy a brand new car. Let that sink in, people. Once you have actually made your millions, once you have built that fortress of wealth, then sure, go wild, buy whatever your heart desires. That is literally the point of becoming wealthy, to have the freedom to do what you want, when you want. But in those crucial early days, you cannot. And I repeat, cannot, live like a king and build wealth at the same time. It is an either-or situation. You choose instead of blowing your hard-earned cash on depreciating items, like flashy cars that lose half their value the second you drive them off the lot, or designer clothes that will be out of style next season, or eating at overpriced restaurants where the food is mediocre. But the Instagram photo is stellar. Do this instead. Invest in assets, stocks, shares, crypto, real estate. These are the things that will actually increase in value, that will generate income for you, that will eventually allow you to do whatever the heck you want. That is the real flex, my friends. Okay, third thing to avoid, and this is a big one for all you lone wolves out there, doing everything yourself. I get it. You are probably super talented, a total rock star at what you do, but no matter how hard you try, no matter how many energy drinks you chug, you will never, ever be able to outcompete a group of seriously talented people working together. It is just basic math. People, look at anyone who has made it big in sports, in business, you name it. If you do a little digging, if you peel back the layers, you will always find that they had help. Always. Let us take Elon Musk, for example. On the surface, he seems like this genius entrepreneur, achieving everything single-handedly, right? A one-man show. But that could not be further from the truth. He was part of the group that launched PayPal. And when eBay bought PayPal for a mind-boggling $1.5 billion in 2002, those newly wealthy tech experts, they spread across the industry like a super virus. A good virus, and now they are known as the PayPal Mafia because they became such an incredibly powerful network. After leaving PayPal, they went on to start a gazillion successful companies. We are talking big names like YouTube, Yelp, LinkedIn, SpaceX, and guess what? They still invest in each other's projects. They give each other advice. They have each other's backs. That is the power of a team, people. But what if you are not aiming to launch the next billion-dollar company? What if you just want to snag some extra cash with a side hustle? Well, here is an interesting angle. A lot of older business owners, they are kind of lost when it comes to anything tech-based, anything involving the internet for their companies. I mean, seriously, many of them do not even know there are online tools for literally everything. Managing your team, handling invoices, tracking projects, even building a freaking website. I do not blame them. Back in their day, none of this existed. But now, the younger generation, you guys, we have a massive advantage. So if these older business owners do not know how to do a lot of this online stuff, and they understand they cannot do everything themselves, guess who they desperately need? You. That is right. You can help them drag their businesses kicking and screaming into the 21st century. And you can make a boatload of money in the process. It is a win-win, people, outright. It is all well and good for me to just say this, but how do you actually do it? How do you become the tech hero for these businesses? Well, if you are up for the challenge, I would totally recommend checking out an all-in-one management platform. Odoo is a great choice. It has all those tools I just mentioned, and so much more, all in one slick package. Here is a perfect example. Look at this website. It is screaming for an update. It looks like it was built back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, like 10 years ago. Let us jump on Odoo and make something a bit more, current and not embarrassing. So I am going to go over here, select the e-commerce app option, boom. Now let us fill this baby in. I want a business website. Yes, perfect. And I want it for my gardening business. Awesome. After this, I have got the option to choose my color. I am just going to upload their logo, and Odoo will smartly build a palette based on their brand colors. Because who has time to pick colors? Am I right? Now we have got to pick a theme. All these themes look pretty solid, so let us just go with this one. I can use the drag and drop feature, super easy, to edit the page and customize the images. Make it look fresh. They even have this cool AI tool to help me with the words, because sometimes my brain just freezes. Let us fast forward like 30 minutes, because nobody wants to watch me click around for half an hour, and boom, check this out. Is this not way better than that old crusty website? In my humble opinion, it is a masterpiece. You could make some serious cash helping out older business owners with all the different apps on Odoo, or even use it to manage your own blossoming business. It is a no-brainer. I actually reached out to Odoo because I loved their platform so much to see if they would want to sponsor this part of the video, and guess what? They said yes.